Should we do Call the Midwife that returned this week? Should we talk about that?
Yeah, go for it.
This happens pretty much straight after the events of the Christmas special, so we still have very bad weather. And
we are in 1963, I believe.
Okay, good. So we have a couple of situations at Anati's house. We have regular fuel shortages and electricity cutouts.
Power cuts. Because of the blizzard.
We also have, because of the characters leaving, we have a new midwife on her way, but she gets delayed because of the weather. The main focus of the episode is that we have someone who's working in a strip club, or like a gentleman's club. Very topical.
No, strip club, yeah. Well, and she doesn't want to work the lunchtime shift.
Yes, the lunch club. She is leaving or she's fired because she's pregnant and she's doing all her acts with just a big coat on so that no one notices.
Presumably she has to take the coat off at some stage. That's how stripping works.
So I don't really know.
No, she does like the teasing, I suppose, doesn't she, without the stripping?
So she sort of believes herself not to be very deserving of midwife help, so they sort of have to sort of encourage her that, you know...
Well, no. I suppose...
There's be a bit where she feels very kind of like, I shouldn't be getting this much attention or something.
The story there, how I saw it, was that the sort of the boss of the strip club was like, you're going to come back here once you have the baby. She wanted to have the baby adopted, basically. She was like, I'm going to have this baby, I'm going to have it adopted, and I'm going to go back to stripping because that's all I'm good for. Yeah. But she sort of learnt her self-worth, I think, is what you're looking for, during the pregnancy and her relationship with... it was Trixie, wasn't it, who was delivering the baby, I believe.
The main midwife.
And afterwards, she talking to Valerie, who's sort of taking over her aunt's dancing school, which the stripper went to originally. Yeah. And there's a lovely little moment at the end where she buys the dance school with the money that she gets from her stripping to get a better life for her daughter.
And the other kind of main storyline was, I think you referenced in your preview, or certainly, is that they're bringing, one of the storylines is the sort of removal of the slums housing in the East End around this time, which, as they do so well, to bring in a real historical storyline to this sort of, you know, the version of the show. And what we get is, unusually it's not a birth, it's actually a death. We get the fact that, because obviously they are running a kind of almost like a district nursing service at times. Yeah.
They've always done this. Yeah, this has always been on the back burner.
They've focused on the baby side of it, but they've always done this. So we get the storyline where a lady is dying, an old Jewish lady is dying, but they're threatening to sort of pull the house down around her. We do get the lovely confrontation. I'm so glad they brought back the grumpy police officer.
Sergeant Wolf.
The show does need an antagonist every so often, I feel.
Although I feel that they are... we had this conversation when we were talking about the Christmas episode, which got cut out, so nobody heard it. But we were debating whether this is going to lead to a romance between Nurse Crane, who's the one who was saying, You've got to wait. I've got this dying woman. She was driven out. You know, they escaped Germany. There were Jews who escaped. Yes. Was it Germany or Poland somewhere, to come to London, and they've lived in this house and she wants to die in this house. And they had this lovely exchange. I've got a feeling that they are going to almost... There is a hint of romance, because at the end, the husband of the woman who passed away, he went to live with their daughter, but he came to see Nurse Crane and had bought her some strudel, which is the last thing that he made in their kitchen, and she gave a slice of the strudel to the sergeant, so there's that little connection.
I hope it's just a general acknowledgement. I hope there is more needle, and then just this kind of, like, nice kind of acknowledgement. I don't want a romance. Sorry.
Why do you hate love, Gary?
Well, no, because I know it's not true. Because I think one of the most intriguing storylines that's been going on for a number of series now is Trixie and her alcoholism and her inability, I suppose, because of her past situation, to want to really engage in a full-on relationship. So she's going out. Is it the dentist she's going out with?
Yes.
And
Christopher.
And he wanted to sort of, like, the way he worded it could be taken two ways. He said, "I just want us to go away and shut the door." And I think she was like, "Oh, does he really think I'm that kind of girl?" But actually, really, what he meant was, "I just want to be with you. I don't want anyone else."
Because he's got a young daughter, and Trixie's trying to sort of get friendly with her and paints her nails, and her mother comes back saying, you know, only tarts get their nails painted and things like that, and I think he's saying, you know, I want to shut out all these other influences, you know, my ex-partner, I want to shut her out, and it's interesting that she is the midwife of the stripper, because their storylines are sort of correlating. Again, it is all about self-worth, that whole section, and Helen George is a very good actress, and as we were saying last week, it is clear here that she's hiding her pregnancy, because talking about big coats, they keep putting her in big coats, keep putting her behind like desks, and filming her from sort of different angles, and I'm so glad that you've started watching it as well, because I think it's such a good show. It's got a great balance of light and shade, it's got a great ensemble cast. I think the Leonie Elliott, the newest actress, I think lends to it, this Afro-Caribbean nurse who's got like
I think we've got
a heart of gold.
Storylines coming up. We got a little bit of a hint, didn't we, of some sort of racial undertones, which I think, you know, and again, the historical, you know, the 60s was the time when we got a huge influx of Jamaicans and Caribbeans in this country. And I'm sure that there were situations, you know, people who didn't want to be treated by people from Jamaica and Caribbean. You know, as sad as that is. So I do think, you know, and you know, we are talking about the 60s, a huge period of change in England. So I do think it's going to be some good stuff.
What I like, again, and when we talked about Next of Kin last week, and them ruining a lot of stuff through their, like, coming next time. The Call the Midwife coming next time doesn't give away any plots. It just gives you little bits of dialogue, little hints, but never reveals anything major, which I like.
It's supposed to make you want to watch the episode, not go, I tell you what, I can work out what happens, I shan't bother.